Actually, they did not reduce your budget for operations. They reduce your capital outlay. So in effect, it's not a reduction of the budget. What is the proposal for this? They cut your budget for 56 million for capital outlay. What is your capital outlay that you intend to do?
Actually, we have already discussed this with the Department of Budget Management. At least, Your Honors, we were given office space in Citibank Tower in Makati.
You're renting.
We already purchased it from another GOCC, Your Honor, from Philexit. We were given additional funding by DBM.
So what is this 5 million and what is your, dati kasi 61 million ang capital outlay mo. What did you do with your 61 million and what are you going to do with your 5 million? 5 million, yes.
Mr. Chairman, the 61 million in 2013 was actually used to purchase the office space. It was a G2G transaction with Philexim.
Yeah.
So
How much did you purchase?
The purchase price was about 94 million, Mr. Chairman.
And how did you pay for it?
So the 61 million, and we got funding, I think, from the Office of the President. Okay. We were provided 2013 budget by the DBM. And I think we realigned since we started operations only in October.
What did you realign?
The budget that yes,
Yes.
from PS.
So your PS is really small, like it's before it's 48, it became 26.
Yes.
So your budget for PS is big that you don't really need it.
Mr. Chairman, unfortunately, when DBM approved the budget, they assumed only the existing plantilla that we had hired, which was about 40. But what our full plantilla is actually 65. So if we compute based on the 65.
No, but sometimes you have plantilla, but you don't have personnel to employ in the plantilla. There are many government institutions like GOA, 6 billion ang plantilla nila, ang employed is 3 billion. So they realign just the 3 billion to the MOOE.
Your Honor, in our case, we really need the 65 plantilla.
How about they just give it to you? How when you pay for the salaries of your employees?
That's why we actually wrote a.
Yeah, but you transferred only it. Before your MOOE is 30, and then you added 27, you made it 58. Kasi kung halimbawa, binigay sa iyo yung 48 sa PS, hindi in-increase yung inyong MOOE, the same. 26 plus 58 is 84. This is 78. Pag inad mo kasi yung PS and MOOE ng 2013, pareho din sila. Mas mataas pa nga yung 2014. What happened naman to your MOOE? Ba't lumaki?
Yung the MOE, Mr. Chairman, additional budget was given to us because there will be new expenses that we will incur in 2014. Like for instance, Mr. Chairman, in 2013 we purchased the office space. We have moved into it this year. So with that, Mr. Chairman, we will be allocating budget for the condominium dues, the value-added tax, which is quite sizable. The budget for us was also increased on foreign travel as we will be representing the Philippines in similar organizations globally for state-owned enterprises. So they increased that as well as.
I don't think it's 27.
Your Honor, relative to our PS, Your Honor, we were given budget by DBM.
I would rather you have retained, unless you're going to cut down your employees,
No.
rather, your 2013 budget is better. You have provision for your PS, and then MOOE is more reasonable.
Your Honor, please.
Parang wala namang natanggal na budget sa inyo eh. Tumaas pa nga eh. Kasi 48 plus 30, 78. Now it's 26 plus 58 is 84.
Yes, Your Honor. The budget given to us preliminarily by DBM is only 26 million because it is actually only the PS for the actual existing employees and officers we have.
Oh.
But we intend to hire and complete our plantilla within the year. But DBM already assured us that if ever there will be an increase in plantilla, which is 65 actually officially, then they shall increase our PS to whatever amount is needed.
Additional employees yun for what?
We still have several directors who are to be appointed. We need certified public accountants and certified financial analysts. So it is as if DBM will only give us funding if ever there will be manpower ready to assume the position. Sure.
Mr. Chairman, the reason why we were not able to fill up the plantilla was because we had no office space up until this year. We were given a small space in Mabini Hall in Malacanang, and we couldn't fit all the employees that we
Actually, your cut in budget is only on capital outlays. Since
That's
you're
right.
not going to buy another office space, there's no need really. So I think DBM is reasonable. I don't know about the PS, but you transferred naman your PS to MOOE. So it's your choice. Okay. Anyway, I'm just pointing out to you that there was no really cut in budget.
Thank you, Senator Villar. Just a few points for the record, Commissioner Ignacio. One, what happens to dissolved GOCCs? Ano nangyayari sa assets nila? As you said, you intend to dissolve 2020, 23?
23, Mr. Chairman.
23 for next year, and you've thus far dissolved how many?
25.
What happened to the assets of these corporations?
Those 25, Mr. Chairman, were mostly subsidiaries, and therefore the assets went to the
Bumalik na.
parent companies.
So wala pa kayong nare-dissolve talaga?
That's not a... But
But
yes,
it went to
for-
the mother
yes, still
company.
the mother company.
In
What-
theory, kung may corporation kayo ni-dissolve, pupunta saan sa PMO?
That's the proposal, Mr. Chairman, for PMO to take charge of the liquidation of the assets. Unless our recommendation is for another agency to absorb the functions, or if there is a merger.
Usually, Mr. Chairman, in the dissolution of these corporations, we have a technical working group which will make sure that there will be orderly transition
And asset preservation. Second, what about SUCs? Are they under you?
Mr. Chairman, SOCs have been expressly excluded from RA 10149.
By law?
By law, that's true.
No amount of supervision, regulation whatsoever on
None, Your
SUCs? They're state university. Siya yan, pero meron sila anyway. Again, the relationship of the GCG with PCGG insofar as corporations under the PCGG is concerned.
Mr. Chairman, we forged a memorandum of agreement with the PCGG, given that the corporations that were under them.
The corporations under PCGG are not under the GCG.
They are, by definition, they are under the GCG, Your Honor. Only when, after we had a conversation, we had a meeting with Chairman Bautista, it was determined that many of these GOCCs are still facing, there are still cases, and therefore it is best for PCGG to supervise them only in cases where it is now been established that there are no more cases. In the case of IBC, there was a ruling, so we took IBC out of PCGG already. But for the rest, Your Honor, they are still
Under PCGG.
That's right.
And by definition, if government shares exceed 50%,
That's right.
it will be under GCG. If it is less than 50%, hindi.
Your Honor, they are considered to be affiliates, Your Honor, and so therefore we still exercise functions over them, over the shares of government. Your Honor.
So if government owns, for example, 10-15% and if entitles them to a board seat, it's still under GCG?
We no, Your Honor, but it usually goes to the mother corporation, which is In cases of subsidiaries, it's the mother corporation which will choose the member of the board for that subsidiary.
Will the rules on per diem and honoraria apply to a board seat where the government does not own more than 50%?
It should, Your Honor. It should, Your Honor.
Does it or does it not?
No, only if it's a subsidiary of a GOCC. Your Honor.
If it is not,
If it's not, it doesn't apply.
But Your Honor, for affiliates, it is actually the mother corporation which will take care of the rules and regulations on per diem, Your Honor.
I'll give an example, sir. PCGG, with the board seat in XYZ Corporation or ABC Corporation, nakaupo doon yung commissioner nila kumukuha ng per diem, ng honoraria. Sino may-ari nun? Saan mapupunta yun?
Regarding PCGG, Your Honor, I think it will be the PCGG which will determine the honoraria of the members of the commission which sits in the board, Your Honor.
No, but who owns it? Correct if I'm wrong. All corporations regulated by GCG may cap pay nila yun, di ba?
Yes, Your Honor.
Na personally pwede matanggap ng direktor. Anything in excess of that should go to government?
In our
To the company, Your Honor.
Your
To the
Honor.
company?
Yes, Your Honor.
Paano nga pag may seat? Let's say before, San Miguel shares, nakaupo sa board, they receive anywhere between 500,000 to 1 million a month. May pakotse, may benepisyo, may lahat. Who owns that? Yung pinadala ng PCGG doon? I don't think that's fair.
We recognize that, Your Honor, but in our memorandum of agreement with PCGG, if there are still legal issues which are still existing, if there are cases which are still pending, Your Honor, it is actually the PCGG which takes care of the corporation, Your Honor. The corporation will only be under GCG if there is already a final decision.
Sir, I don't dispute the fact that it's PCGG. Quite frankly, tama ko sigaret, may kaso pa eh.
Yes, Your Honor.
What I'm asking is by policy, why do they get to bring it home? Hindi naman sila, they're sitting there in their capacity as representatives of government because these are sequestered shares.
To be honest about it, Your Honor, I think that's a very good point which GCG should and PCGG should consider, Your Honor.
Should look into.
Yes, Your Honor.
In
We
fact,
look into that. I think that's a very good point, Your Honor.
That's the reason why I raised also SUCs. CHED commissioners sit in all of the various state colleges and university board meetings and they're given a per diem. Pinaghahati-hatian ng mga commissioner ng CHED yun, sino upo, etc. Para roughly equal sila. But I don't think that's right too. It's part of their job. Additional expense pa yun on the part of the SUCs. If there is a policy with respect, and I believe you've come up with a policy, and a good one at that, on a cap on who exactly owns these per diems and honoraria, I think it should be made to apply to all the rest.
Mr.
In
Chairman,
fairness,
Ma'am,
my third chair. In fairness to SUCs, binibigay lang ng SUCs ranges from 2,000 to 5,000 pesos per
Board
board meeting. And at least for the other board, members of the board, they pay for their own transportation expense.
the members of Congress, yes.
Yes. So, tapos may mga times pa disallowed pa, so nire-refund pa. Mas kawawa nga yung mga mahihirap na members of the board. I mean, it doesn't matter to us, but for the others. Maliit lang, hindi naman katulad ng San Miguel na daang libo at milyon. Sa amin is 2,000 to 5,000 lang ang range a month. A quarter, I think, a quarter.
For GCG, there's a provision there on restitution. May nag-restitute na ba?
As of the moment, Your
Correct me if I'm
Honor,
wrong, remember yung mga properties, monies, emoluments that went previously, which should be owned by government in line with what I've been asking. Has there been any restitution made?
on record, Your Honor, the problem, Your Honor, is that in cases of overpayment or excess in per diem, Your Honor, usually there is an appeals process in the Commission on Audit, Your Honor, and the appeals process takes time. That is the reason why we are coordinating with the Commission on Audit to make an expeditious restitution on the matter. Uh, these cases usually are appeals from the members of the board or the GOCC officials and employees, Your Honor. Usually take time with the Commission on Audit. In fact, these are all also appealable to the regular court, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. One last point. Officially, I'd like to bring it up and ask the GCG to look into this. Can you look at the situation of AppSly, MBuy, lahat ng mga SLY? All of these, I believe, are private corporations or deemed private corporations and not under the GCG, correct? Take the example of AppSly and MBuy. May opisina sila sa Aguinaldo, hindi ko alam kung nagbabayad ng renta. I heard hindi nagbabayad ng renta although nagbabayad ng kuryente. It's a private corporation registered with SEC, again, not a GOCC or a GFI, and yet automatically they are given insurance, the insurance coverage of all the assets of the AFP. That is the only private corporation I know that by their charter and by their bylaws, yung chief of staff is automatically the chairman of the board. The controller is automatically a member of the board, and the vice chief of staff is automatically a member of the board rather, which to my mind is anomalous to say the least. If they are a private corporation, they should be treated as such, and they should bid for whatever it is they want from government. If they are GFI and GOCC, then they should be under you. I often cite this example. Kung pwede yan, magtatayo ka ng mining company, automatic chairman of the board ko, DNR secretary. Magtatayo ka ng medical supply company, automatic chairman of the board ko, DOH secretary, that's supposed to be legal. Clearly, it's unfair and it's not a level playing field. Can you look into that and kindly give us a report on that? The AFP or the DND has to decide one way or the other. Private ba yan o GFI yan o GOCC yan? I understand that no monies were given by government, salary deduction yun ng mga sundalo natin. But still, what gives them the right to provide in their bylaws automatically? Na yung chief of staff, member ng board at automatically, sino mga appoint ng presidente, member ng board nila. Kindly look into it and submit us a report on the matter, ma'am. Sir.
We will look into it, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, anything else?
Uh,
Senator Villar?
In the list of GOCCs under you, there are many here. There's several na in-involved sa PIDAP, di ba?
Oo nga pala.
Scam.
NLBC?
We have here Technology Resource Center. What else? NLBC.
NLDC,
NAPGOR?
ZINAC, Rubber Estate, Philippine Forest Corporation.
Di lahat sila. Andyan.
There are 5 GOCCs under the GCG that were involved in the
Lima lang naman sila.
Lima po.
Every
Puro
one
GC.
of them.
Yes.
Can you make a report on that, on what you're going to do?
We will submit a report,
All
Mr.
of
Chairman. Often I can give you a summary. We've already recommended 3 to the President for abolition. These are,
I thought all of them will be abolished.
yes, Your Honor, we have recommended Philippine Forest, ZINAC, REC, NAPGOR for dissolution. We are still looking at PRC and NLDC only because
Pero sila yung pinakamalaki.
That's
TRC ang pinakamalaki ang dinaan sa kanila. May at least for 2007 to 2009, they handled the biggest, 2.5 billion.
you're right, Your Honor.
Bakit hindi sila nire-recommend yung mas maliliit na nire-recommend?
I-recommend po, it's just that we are finishing the study dahil po itong dalawa, yung TRC at NLDC, ito po yung meron pang existing operation. So we are carefully trying to see sino mag-absorb po ng functions that are still relevant, yung assets, sino po mag-absorb. We are in that process already.
Can you make a report on your recommendation with regards to these 5?
We will do.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. One last point with respect to the point raised by Senator Villar. If you recommend its abolition, in your report, can you indicate also what will happen to the records of that company? My worry is if it is abolished, sige yung assets, okay na yan, may procedure. But the records of the company itself, if there are cases that will be filed or records that need to be obtained, baka kung saan mapunta. And secondly, as part of your audit and regulation, will you be able to see the PDAF allocations to these GOCCs o hindi? O nasa governance aspect lang kayo?
We only Yes, Your Honor, that's very right. We go only to the governance aspect. The financial matters are being handled by the Commission on Audit, Your Honor. It's a constitutional office, and so it has primary jurisdiction over the financial transactions of the corporation, Your Honor.
I use the word audit loosely, not really audit, but when I say audit, meaning when you look into a company, a GOCC, kasama ba dun yung PDAF allocations? If it is being used wisely, if it was actually used, etc., etc.
Your Honor, for NLDC, what we've done is that we've asked, the NLDC has actually given us a list of all the PDAF transactions. Although on the ordinary course, when we do their usual submissions to the GCG, it will not be as detailed as that.
What about the predecessor of the NLDC? I'm sure you've traced the etymology and the origins of these companies, diba? Nanggaling dito, inabsorb, may presidential issuance, sinama doon, pinalitan yung pangalan. Can you give us a report on that as well, particularly on NLDC?
Yes, Your Honor.
As well as with TRC. Ang NLDC yata parang live core dati.
Live core po.
Live core dati, right?
Apo.
Kung saan nanggaling in the course of time para malaman at makita rin namin yung PDAF allocations in these agencies. Thank you very much, ma'am. Anything else, sir? There being no further questions, subject to the submission of certain documents, the proposed budget of the GCG is hereby submitted to plenary, and the committee favorably recommends the approval of the same. Congratulations, ma'am. Thank you for coming, and good morning.